Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to take a closer look at your favorite semiconductor company, Intel. They did just announce their new CPU for the consumer line, and it's being powered by AI and the next generation of AI PC. So in today's episode, I want to take a closer look at these new solutions. You might be like, Jose, I thought you just did a video on Intel. Well, the previous video was more on their data center solutions. Like I mentioned, today I want to take a closer look at the consumer side. So let's get started with today's episode.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for their subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
Intel, like I mentioned, had their AI Everywhere event where they took a closer look at a lot of different solutions, but they do mention that available globally on the shelf and online starting on December 14th, Intel's new ultra-core mobile processors will power more than 230 of the world's first AI PCs from partners. And the AI market is actually expected, the AI PC market is expected to be pretty big. Intel does mention that the launch of Intel Core Ultra represents the unmatched scale and speed at which Intel is enabling AI on the PC, and they estimate that by 2028, AI PCs will comprise of roughly 80% of the PC market. And some of you might be wondering, hey Jose, what is AI in PC and what kind of solutions are there right now? So we are in early innings, but AI in PCs is pretty much where we're gonna see the CPU has kind of various chips. It has the CPU, the GPU, and then it also has some form of AI chip, usually called the NPU, that is used to kind of offset a few AI workloads. And right now, if you are a content creator, some of those AI workloads might be to improve maybe some of your content creation time. For example, right now, I'm not really looking at the camera, but there is eye correction that makes it look like I'm looking at the camera. That is done through AI and obviously in the back end of my PC. Same with the background, right? The background, I have no green screen at all, and it's all being fixed by AI. So small solutions like this is what's kind of improving, and there's going to be more software solutions that continue to grow as this kind of PC chips enter the global market to some extent. The other thing that we do see is I wanted to take a closer look at this study by Canalys, where they do expect 2024 to be a growth year in PC shipments. And we can see 2022 was a down year, 2023 was a down year, but we expect 2024 to be a nice year and 2025 to be another big jump. And they do mention one of this is the help tailwinds, including the Windows refresh cycle, and more important, the emergence of AI capable devices. So we can see that there's definitely a nice growth opportunity here for the AI PC market in the consumer space, not only because of the new technology, but we are in a nice uptrend here in the PC shipment cycle. Now, before we go any further, guys, I do want to say thank you for the support. We just hit 29,000 subs. I'm trying to hit 30,000 by the end of the year. I'm not sure if we can do it, but if we can, that would be an awesome gift. If you want to check out my membership program, I do weekly exclusive videos about semiconductor companies. Click join to learn more. Check out my special offer at fool.com/Jose, and also check out my free newsletter at josenajarro.substack.com. They do mention that the AI experience is only as strong as the enabled software, and Intel is really focusing on this Intel AI PC acceleration program, where more than 100 independent software vendors, ISVs, and more than 300 AI accelerator features will be uniquely optimized for Intel Core Ultra processors. That is 3 times more AI apps and frameworks than any competing silicon vendor. So here they're taking shots at AMD because they obviously have their own AI chips, and also other players that are starting to enter the market like Qualcomm in the AI space. So Intel is really partnering up with these huge software vendors to give kind of an edge to their solutions. They do mention that this new Intel Core Ultra is the first process built on Intel 4 process technology, and this is something very important because Intel's trying to do 5 nodes in 4 years. This is one of those 5 nodes, Intel 4. So we can see they are also improving their manufacturing, but not only that, it's also using Intel's Foveros 3D advanced packaging technology. So Intel here is kind of showcasing that, hey, look, we can manufacture our chips and we can also work on advanced packaging, which is something that a lot of other solutions in the future will need. I do want to say this Intel Core Ultra does have kind of a chiplet design. Some of the chips are made by Intel, some of the other chips are also made by TSMC. They do mention that the Intel's newest NPU, which is the neural processing unit for AI workloads, is purposely built to handle longer running AI workloads at low power, and it complements AI handled on both the CPU and the GPU. Right? We are seeing this new advancements of AI workloads, and the last thing you want to do is to kind of over overwork your CPU and your GPU and slow that down. So certain solutions are going to go down to the NPU. Intel Core does mention that you can actually small run some small large language models and some small AI solutions using Intel Core Ultra, which I think is pretty interesting. Now that we know the overall market, I want to kind of take a rewind to see how the client computing group has done for Intel in the past, how big it has got, how big it was in 2020 and 2021, where it was kind of like the peak in the PC shipment. If we take a closer look, we can see 2021 was a peak for them. And it doesn't seem like we're going to get to those levels anytime soon, but we can kind of see how a nice bullish market can be for the PC cycle. So in quarter three of 2023, the client computing group was $7.9 billion. For a year ago, in quarter three of 2022, was $8.1 billion. Now, if we go even further, quarter three of 2021, which was kind of the peak, was $9.8 billion. So this is definitely a huge market, and it's pretty far from where it was earlier in its peak. I don't believe we're ever going to get to this 9.8 billion unless it actually is possible if the average selling prices of these chips go up a little bit. You can kind of see that revenue growth increase, especially, but then you have to also see does margins stay the same. So it's kind of we can definitely get to these revenue numbers, but maybe with not the same type of margins as well. Here we can see how Intel's really kind of focusing on this AI solution, and they really kind of take a closer look at their competitors. Ryzen 7 7000U and the Snapdragon 8 CX Gen 3. These are not the latest versions of either of them. Ryzen just announced their 8040, and Snapdragon has their Snapdragon Elite. But for this process, Intel showcasing that, hey, look, they are the better solution over the competition. Now, like I mentioned, AMD is probably their biggest competitor here. They do have a nice amount of market share, not as big as Intel, but is the second market shareholder in CPU space for the consumer market. AMD has their Ryzen AI, which pretty much is the same thing, their NPU, their CPU, and their GPU. The only thing is AMD has actually done the AI for CPUs earlier, about a year earlier. They started in January of 2023 when they introduced their Ryzen AI and their 7040 solution. They have mentioned that they have already shipped millions of Ryzen's AI PCs in 2023. And that's why I do believe Intel really wanted to showcase that, hey, look, while the competitors has shipped more, we are working with software vendors to really make sure that you get the best bang for your buck. AMD does mention that they are already working on their next generation of NPU, which is their AMD SNA2, which is launching in the second half of 2024. But like I mentioned here, in quarter one of 2024, they are releasing their 8040 series, the Hawk Point, which does have some improvements to their NPU line, which is better performance for AI workload. So for me, this new AI PC is nothing too crazy. I do believe the most important thing is just the overall PC shipments going up. I do believe Intel might be doing a little bit better because of their partnerships versus AMD. But right now, if I may be honest, we're so early in this AI PC market for the consumer space that most people who end up getting an AI PC won't really do much with them with those workloads. That's just my overall opinion. But as we kind of progress into this and kind of get more people into the hands of AI, we're going to see more developers, and that's when we're really going to care about the performance here. So I think we're in early innings. We have plenty of times to see who's going to be the real winner here. And overall, what I think I'm just more excited is just the consumer space going to grow in PC shipments, which does bode well for a lot of my semiconductor companies. So take care, have a good day, and see you next time.